नीरवत्रशरोगं विगतविषयतृष्णा कृष्णमाराधयामि विगतविषयतृष्णा कृष्णमाराधयामि सकलकलुषभङ्गे स्वर्गसोपानसङ्गे सकलकलुषभङ्गे स्वर्गसोपानसङ्गे तरलतरतरङ्गे देवी गङ्गे प्रसीद प्रसीद भगवती तव तीरे नीरवत्रशरोगं भगवती तव तीरे नीरवत्रशरोगं विगतविषयतृष्णा कृष्णमाराधयामि विगतविषयतृष्णा कृष्णमाराधयामि सकलकलुषभङ्गे स्वर्गसोपानसङ्गे सकलकलुषभङ्गे स्वर्गसोपानसङ्गे तरलतरतरङ्गे देवी गङ्गे प्रसीद 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 नमामि गङ्गे नमामि गङ्गे नमामि गङ्गे.
Good morning, viewers, to a very special show, All Women Now, where we talk about music, the universal language that connects our body, mind, soul, and everything else around us. Today, I'm going to be joined by the Trichur brothers, Ram and Krishna, who are here all the way from India. They have inspired our community. They've been all over Bay Area in different companies, like I think Facebook, Google, and they have, had standing ovation. So let us first start talking about what got you here to US, and I'm going to start with Ram. Tell me, why are you here? What's the purpose?
Both me and Krishna, we are, as you were saying, Carnatic musicians from India. We've been coming over to the US for the last few years as part of our concert tours. So this was one of those concert tours where we came in here for it's basically a one concert tour. So we had a concert yesterday at the CET. Well, one of the reasons why we also kind of extended this particular tour a little bit to be here about 5 days before that is because we've also been busy with the Namami Gange theme song, which was composed by the two of us, and we've also come up with a music video which has been visualized and conceptualized by us, and that's now been adopted by the government of India as the national theme song for the Clean Ganga movement. So we've also been visiting some of the corporates so that we can start spreading awareness and garner support for this all-important movement that's happening in India.
Well, that brings me to a question about the purpose. I mean, you both are not just musicians and classical musicians, you have divine voices, but apart from that, you have a purpose and you're connecting your musical talent with that purpose, and you've been very successful doing that. Tell me how you thought of the Namami Gange project and what you aim to achieve through that.
Well, I think I should, it warrants me to start talking about my school at this instance. Our school, in fact, we studied in the same school, and we would credit the system in the school to a large extent for the way we today behave as human beings. So, that coupled with the fact that when the Madison Square address of Honorable Prime Minister happened a year and a half back, we were sitting in the small room in Chennai and watching it. And what struck us was that this was the very first time the Prime Minister of a country is talking about the national river in such a passionate manner, and it sort of immediately struck us that we should do something for the national river of India. And it just happened that within the next 1.5 hours, we had a tune in mind. We had friends, musician friends, who all volunteered to just come in and be part of it. And the scratch tune was done within a week. That was how it all began. Yeah.
Well, let us a little bit understand Namami Gange, and I'm also personally very passionate about it because Ganga is our mother and our god, and everything origins from Ganga, right? And it is in danger. And as I realize that there are very harmful pests and other chemicals that is causing the pollution. So tell me a little bit about where you see the problem going and what would be some of the solutions that could be offered.
Right. I'll start with saying that we often hear people saying that Ganga is in trouble. The truth is Ganga is not in trouble. It's the humanity in India that's in trouble. Because today Ganga is a river which flows for 2,525 kilometers. It goes through 5 states and it impacts directly 43% of the Indian population. So apart from the Ganga being a spiritual river, which all of us have worshipped as the giver of life and the sustenance quotient as far as the country is concerned, it's also economically very important. It's important for the kind of agrarian economy that India is. It's also important for biodiversity. So all of us know that there is a problem that that's a case that happens in most places where humanity comes in touch with environment. You're bound to have conflicts. I think the one thing that has been happening over the last at least 1 to 1.5 years is the fact that people are really starting to become aware of what is really happening, and that we believe in a country like India with a population of 1.25 billion, we think that is the starting point. People need to understand that there is a problem and then they should go ahead to address it. So when our music video releases on the 15th or 16th of April, the dates are yet being finalized by the central government, you'll see one point we've tried to focus on is that all the world has seen so far is the filthy side of the Ganga, is the dirty side of the Ganga. But the truth is that there is so much of beauty in the Ganga, and I would say a majority of the river is clean. There are problem areas with industrial effluents flowing, and the government is seriously working on it. When we have been working with the government over the last one year on this particular project, when we go into the government offices, we see them functioning like a corporate office. So we've, as chartered accountants, I was with KPMG.
That's a big change, I would say.
That's a major change, and we've not really been to the government office, but I think the notion is changing to, because you have a PM who's working something close to 18 hours a day, and the only thought that goes through our mind is when a 65-year-old PM puts that kind of work, as youngsters, I think we should be working 36 hours in a day, given the fact that, we can run around. So that energy is infectious, and I think it is for the first time that a majority of youngsters in the country are feeling extremely inspired to contribute to the nation.
Ni da ni ri sa da ba 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 ga pa sa ni da ga ma da pa ga sa ga ba da ba ba ga ri sa ri ga ga pa sa ni da ga ba da pa ga sa ga ba da ba ba ga ri da ni sa ga ri ga ba ga pa ma ba ri ga ri sa ni da ba ga ri ga Gama ba 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 da ba ba ri ni da ri ga ba 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 pa ga sa ga ba 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 da ba ba ri ni da ri ga ba 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 pa ga sa ga ba ba da ni sa ni da ba ba ga ri da ni sa ri sa ni ni ma ni da ni sa da pa sa ni sa ni ma ni da za ni 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 da ba 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 ga ba 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 ga ri da ba 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 ga ri da ni da ri ga ma da ni da da ba ga da ga ba ga ri ga ba ba ri ga ga da 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 ni ni da ni da ni ni da 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 ba ba da ba ga ba ba da da ba ba ga ba ga ri ga ba ba ri ga sa ga pa sa ga.
We have a fusion band. We call it alternative music. It's one of our first rendering to the public is the Namami Gange song, and we really enjoy working with Western musicians, and it's a great thing to inculcate the positives of so many different forms of music. As you.
Now, both of you have a very divine outlook to life. I mean, talking to you the last few minutes, I can tell that you are kind of attained, and obviously, music helps you get there, and the peace that you share in your mind and the connection between your mind and your soul. But tell me this: I mean, would there be any goal that you have set for yourself to reach to, or you're just enjoying the journey? Do you have a purpose, like I want to be there 10 years from today? Or 20 years from today, or I want to leave this behind in the world when I'm not there. This is how I want to be remembered. Do you have such goals?
Well, again, we come from a background where we believe that even if we are able to sing a sa on pitch, it is divine intervention. It's nothing else. It's divine grace. It's God's grace that we have the voices that a lot of people like, and it's divine grace that we are able to sing. To answer your question in terms of the goals, 1 year back, we never knew that we'd be composing the national theme song for a movement as big as the Namami Gange, Clean Ganga movement, but it's happened. So one thing that we've learned from that is the plans are drawn by God. We just do our work and move on in life.
So you just put your best every day and move on. Now this question is going to be for both of you, and you have to answer this. You make it sound very easy, but it's not that simple and easy to stick to your roots and classical music and pursue it over a long period of time, because there's so much attraction everywhere else, right? What would your advice be to our young viewers who are enrolled in classical music and who want to do it but do not find it that easy and simple? Would you have any message for them?
Okay. See, classical music, when you start practicing, it's not easy from the point of view that it takes some time to get set into the tradition. It takes a lot of years of practice to actually start enjoying classical music. Okay, some guys are gifted. Just from their birth, they start singing and they really enjoy it. But it takes a lot of years of practice to actually understand the nuances and enjoy your singing. All right, that's number one. Number two is that in today's scenario, I actually think classical music has got tremendous potential in any which way you can think about. Because we are talking about a world where people are complaining about stress every other day. People want some form of relaxation, and the world getting smaller, music is actually coming to the forefront, and that too classical music in any art form. All right. And number three, I will end my point with this, is that from our own experience and from our dad's experience, we can tell you that once we are totally focused in classical music, the music takes care of you. From somewhere help comes. From somewhere you start seeing that life around you is getting more beautiful, and we start meeting a lot of wonderful people like all of you. So it's all thanks to music. So I'm 100% grounded on that fact. You are sincere with your art form. It will definitely take care of you.
Well, what is your message to our viewers?
I think you spoke about enjoying music. One request that I have basically for all the parents around, I've seen this trend not just in India but also abroad in a number of places. If a kid is pursuing music, please do not train the kid for a competition. That is not the be all and end all. You would have seen a number of competitions where a kid doesn't win a prize, but he'd be a much more successful playback singer or a musician at a later point of time. So number one, please do not pressurize the kid. Music is not something where I turn 50 pages, learn it by heart, and then just go and reproduce it in an exam. Music is something where the real delivery is happening from the heart, from the mind. So please do not clog it, keep it unclogged. That way, the kids are going to be a lot more interested in music, because they'll start pursuing their passion because they love it. Yeah. And not to prove a point to the world, not to prove a point to somebody else. That is very, very important. And I think the second thing is adding on what Sri Krishna was saying. It is after 2 years that me and Sri Krishna, both of us have small kids. So it is after he has a kid who's 3 and my kid is 2. So it is after nearly 2 years that the two of us got to spend 20 days together at home. Which clearly tells you that today Carnatic music is not something that happens merely in Chennai during December season or merely in India. It is happening all around the world. We just came back from Australia and New Zealand. We performed in Nairobi to a crowd of nearly 3,000 people. So Carnatic music is everywhere. And I'd also like to recount a point that was made by somebody we really look up to, Mr. A.R. Rahman. In one of the presentations, I think it was one of those super singer competitions or something where he was present. So somebody sang the very famous song called Malar Gale, Malar Gale. And as soon as that was over, the anchor in the show was basically saying, sir, we've been hearing this song for the last 20 years and we've still not, got bored of it. What is the secret? He gave a 2-word answer. He said, classical music. That's all he said. So that is basically the power of classical music. I think there is a lot of awareness that needs to be created in terms of one very important awareness factor is that you don't need to know raga or tala or the technicalities to enjoy classical music. We've had enough people who come in without any knowledge of what the music components are. If I want to eat a kajar halwa, I just eat a cup of kajar halwa and be happy. I don't need to know how much sugar or how much ghee or carrot has been put into it. That's the concept with music. Just go there, enjoy. Do not keep questioning what the artists are doing. Enjoy the moment and come out, and then you'll have a very different perspective.
Well, but if you understand that, it always becomes even more appealing and more sort of touching.
Ramanila Megha Shyama Kodanda Rama Raghukula Soma Parandama Sarvabhauma Nila Megha Shyama Raghuram Ram Ram Raghuram Jaya Ram 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 Jaya Ram Raghuram Ram Ram Raghuram Jaya Ram 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 Jaya Ram. తల్లి తండ్రి గురుము నీవే తోడు నీడ నీవే తల్లి తండ్రి గురుము నీవే తోడు నీడ నీవే ధరణి జనుల పాలన చేసే పరంజ్యోతివే జాకు ఇక చాలను రామయ్య దాసులను బ్రోవక రామయ్య జాకు ఇక చాలను రామయ్య దాసులను బ్రోవక రామయ్య తెలియతరమా పలుక వశమా నీదు మహిమా రాఘవ రామ నీల మేఘ శ్యామ కోదండ రామ రఘుకులాది సోమ పరందామ సార్వభౌమ రాతినైన నారిని చేసే నీ దివ్య పాదము రాతినైన నారిని చేసే నీ దివ్య పాదము కోతినైన జ్ఞానిని చేసే నీ నామము నిన్న సరి దైవము లేదయ్యా నిన్నితే నమ్మితి రామయ్య నిన్న సరి దైవము లేదయ్యా నిన్నితే నమ్మితి రామయ్య తెలియతరమా పలుక వశమా నీదు మహిమా రాఘవ నీదు చరణం పాపకరణం మాకు శరణం రాఘవ రామ నీల మేఘ శ్యామ కోదండ రామ రఘుకులాది సోమ పరందామ సార్వభౌమ నీలమేఘ శ్యామ రఘురాం రాం రాం రఘురాం జయ రాం 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 జయ రాం రఘురాం రాం రాం రఘురాం జయ రాం 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 జయ రాం రఘురాం రాం రాం రఘురాం జయ రాం 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 జయ రాం రఘురాం రాం రాం రఘురాం జయ రాం 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 జయ రాం రఘురాం రాం రాం రఘురాం జయ రాం 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 జయ రాం.
Amazing.
Thank you.
This has been like a very personally satisfying interviews for me, and that's because it took me back to my childhood when I grew up with Indian classical music, and I never in my life dreamt that I'll be sitting next to you and listening to you, talking to you. It's been a pleasure, honor, and I feel blessed at this moment. And I wish you great luck in whatever you want to achieve. And I'm sure we'll be in touch. And both of you look like the most modern, classical, Hindustani, Carnatic musicians. Okay? So thank you.
Meeting you, pleasure meeting you, and the whatever you said, the feelings are mutual. It's a real pleasure and treat to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, and we'd also like to compliment you on your interviewing style because you give enough space for our thoughts to actually be brought out.
Thank you so much.